Welcome back to the final coffee break of 2021. It does not seem possible, but we have made it halfway through the school year, and so far the year is going, no, it's actually going really, really well. Our students are gone. We may have a handful in the building today on this Friday when you're getting this. That need to come in and do some makeup work. Teachers will be finalizing some grades, getting their grade books caught up, wishing everybody a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas and whatever other kinds of things that we choose to call it these days. And then around noon, this building's going to be empty. I have to say that it's been a great semester. As I mentioned earlier, this is my first semester being the administrator for FulCom, and it has been quite the ride. I could not have asked for a better group of kids or a better group of teachers to work with, or the other ancillary staff, my counselor and my restorative interventionist and the special ed team and everybody else in the building who has helped us along the way this semester. It has been great. And maybe the other administrators too. One of the things that I read recently was that in spite of COVID, in spite of spiraling inflation, in spite of all of the higher prices for everything and the inability to get things here on time, the majority of Americans have decided that they are more than happy to go into debt for Christmas. You may be one of those people. I have decided that I am not going into debt this year. And my grandkids may be very sorry about that, but I am trying to do something a little different because I am reminded when I was a child of a Christmas when I was really young, probably 5 or 6, I would say, might have been 7, I don't know. And we got up really early back in those days. It was not unusual for us to be at the tree at 4 o'clock in the morning, making all kinds of noise. And this particular Christmas, I remember 2 gifts that I got vividly. One was a 007 James Bond briefcase that when you opened it up, it had all of these secret agent weapons inside. And so I got to play being 007 for a while. But the other thing that I got was a typewriter. Now, this was back in the days when everything was manual. There was no such thing as an electric typewriter. It was a manual typewriter, and it was a little toy typewriter for kids. But I fell in love with the process of writing, I think, with that gift. Now you compare that to the Christmas that we had when I was going into my junior year of high school. We had just moved from Bennettsville, South Carolina, where we had lived for only about 10 months. And we moved to a little town called Wynne, Arkansas, which is where my parents were from. And my mom and dad had quit their jobs. We were living off of their savings for about a year while my dad was starting a business, and there was no income, there was no extra money, there was no nothing. And that year, I got 1 pair of blue jeans, and that was Christmas. And you know what? It didn't matter. It just didn't matter. One Christmas was just as good as the other. The Christmas where I had all these wonderful gifts, including 2 that I remember to this day, and the year that I got basically nothing, it was all the same. No matter what your Christmas break is going to look like, trees, lights, gifts, maybe you don't do Christmas, maybe you do another holiday, maybe you're of a different faith, maybe the thing about Santa Claus did you in, I don't know. But however you spend this time away from school, I hope that you will spend a little time just for you. Give yourself the gift of you. A little rest, a little relaxation, a little recreation, and let your mind declutter. I posted something on Facebook today about the phone and how light this phone is. But if you were to hold this phone in your hand and put your arm out in front of you and say, hold this until you can't hold it anymore, within an hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, depending on your health, at some point this phone is going to be too heavy to hold any longer, and you're going to have to put it down. And our minds are like that. If we don't get rid of some things in our brains, if we don't allow ourselves the time to decompress, things just become too heavy. And that's not what I want for you during this break. That's not what I want for you as we're going into the next semester. Spend the time for you. Make Christmas just as much about you as about everybody else in your family. Please. And we'll see you next year.